Hey yo, if you need t-shirt designs and t-shirt pressing, go to the Family Tree 335 on Instagram, you heard? Send them a DM, tell them LAZ sent you. It's like God or guns, which is better protection. Can't decide, that's a hard one. LAZ, peace, and shout out to the God born magnetic from Tompkins. Shout out the whole Tompkins projects, the whole Bed-Stuy. If you from Bed-Stuy, get in them comments. Let me know what block, what Ave, what street, what boulevard, what projects you out there repping. You heard? This is a new episode of God of Guns, the series where we explore some of the most notorious 5%ers that ever walked the streets of New York City. You heard? It was a time where the whole New York City was ran by the guards. It was the guards that was the biggest influence on hip-hop culture in New York City and worldwide. It was the guards that shaped and molded New York City. And you gonna learn about them.
By the time we moved out to Tompkins, Pumas that came out, Adidas that came out, that type of stuff. We already had leathers and all that kind of stuff. So he came over to us and he told us, he said, yo, some dudes over there, they're scheming on y'all, that's looking at y'all leathers and y'all Adidas and all that, So my brother said, word. So my brother backed out of Tray 8 and cocked the hammer back and told him, he said, tell him to come for it. Tell him to come get it. My number one interest is living life to the fullest and figuring out ways to make things much better for those who are vulnerable to making the mistakes that we made. Let Saint Laz know to keep doing what he does and to always use his platform to uplift the culture. We need to play a role in changing the narrative, and the only way to do that is by networking with the people who are optimistic and want to build instead of destroy. I remember the brother Black Knowledge from Sumner. That's my man. He was also in Brooklyn House with me. He's a good fighter and a warrior. I remember him beating a guy so bad that the guy had to bite him. Let my brother know that I send my love and respect. Stay strong, get humble, love and respect. Peace. My family migrated here to this country. They came straight to New York, straight to Brooklyn. And me and two of my brothers were born at the Cumberland Hospital in Fort Greene. One of my brothers, Eddie, then Kay, then me. We was all born at the Cumberland Hospital. And at that time, we was all living in Bed-Stuy at 366 Lafayette. That's right across the street from LG, from Lafayette Gardens, the projects. If you get off the G train at Classon Avenue, when you come upstairs, we lived on the corner right there, across the street from the projects. There was a little park there. There was like 3 or 4 houses down from the corner. Yeah, we had a crib right there, and that's where my family lived at. And then that apartment, the house caught on fire. It was actually a house, not an apartment, but it caught on fire, and we had to move to that big clock downtown. That was a hotel, and we stayed in there for I don't know how long before. Yes, a few weeks or a few months, and then the family moved to Brookline, Canarsie, and that was in 1973, and we stayed there until 1979, and then in 1979, my family moved to Tompkins. But part of the reason we moved there because my pops worked for the New York City Housing Authority, and he worked for them for many years, and actually he was getting a promotion or something. I think he was becoming a foreman or the projects over there or something. But I remember he told my old Earth that we was moving to Williamsburg. He didn't want to tell her that it was Bed-Stuy. But anyway, he told my old Earth and the family we was moving to Williamsburg, and actually we moved to Tompkins.
And where you said your family was from, what country?
Nicaragua. That's in Central America. Like a country away from, you got Panama, Costa Rica, Nicaragua, You know, you got Honduras, Costa Rica, Guatemala, Mexico. You know, then it goes, you know, to the United States. But yeah, in that region, it's by Panama, but Central America, Nicaragua.
Yeah, so you said y'all moved to Tompkins in what year, 79?
Yeah, summer of 1979.
And how was it when y'all moved out there? Like, how the projects was still new? Like,
yeah, the projects was thriving. But let me say this. I remember this. Okay, let me say this. Before we even moved to Tompkins, right? We had knowledge of self. We had get knowledge of self when we lived in Brookline. So, you know, because a lot of times there's been a big, a lot of people, you know, not a dispute or nothing, or controversy or nothing, but some people be saying about Kay from Tompkins, you know, and then Kay's from Brookline, you know, but the reality is Kay's Brooklyn, straight Brooklyn, you know, born in Cumberland Hospital, Fort Greene. At the time, we was living in Bed-Stuy, like I said, at 366 Lafayette, before we went to that hotel and then moved to Brookline and Canarsie. But then in summer '79, we moved back to Bed-Stuy, to Tompkins, you know, and it was really when we lived in Tompkins that my brother came to prominence as you know, became much more well known. But when we lived in Brookline, he became K's son because he had knowledge of self since back then. And when we moved to Tompkins, we was already established. You know, what I mean by that is, when we came out, all right, when we was living in Brookline, before we even moved to Tompkins, you know, we started getting money, you know, and back then, we used to do burglaries, you know, and we used to go in the suburbs. You know, we wasn't doing the burglaries in the, you know, I speak about this in the documentary in part 1, but we wasn't doing burglaries in the projects or the hood or the inner city, you know, urban areas. You know, we was going in the suburbs, and we was getting a lot of money back then. You know, some people didn't believe putting their money in banks. People used to be having their life savings in their crib. You know, so we used to be getting G's out there. We used to be getting gold, diamonds. We used to find mad hammers, you know, because these were Caucasian people houses. So we was finding all types of guns. You know, I'm talking about, we had every kind of gun you could imagine. And then we had all kinds of shotguns, 12 gauge, 20 gauge, 410 gauge, you know, 30-06, 30-30s, 44 Magnum rifles, then all kinds of handguns, you know, everything from 22s, 25s, 38s, and, you know, bunch of different hammers. So by the time we moved to Tompkins, we already had hammers, and we already had, you know, a little bit of jewelry, a little bit of gear, stuff like that. By the time we moved out to Tompkins, Pumas had came out, Adidas had came out, you know, that type of stuff. We already had leathers and, you know, and all that kind of stuff. So I remember when we first moved out there and we first came outside, we didn't know nobody. So me and my brother used to come out, we used to just be me and him. We used to sit on a bench, smoke our little weed or whatever, and be chilling on a bench or whatever. So one time, a brother came over to us. It's this brother, well-known, well-respected, named Dark Hell, that come from Tompkins. That's my brother, my comrade, may he rest in peace. But anyway, back then his name was Chuck, you know, Charles Berry. But we, you know, anyway, good brother, he came over to us and he told us, he said, yo, some dudes over there, they're scheming on y'all, that's looking at your leathers and your Adidas and all that, you know? So my brother said, word. So my brother backed out of tray 8 and cocked the hammer back and told him, he said, tell him to come for it. They, you know, tell him to come get it. You know, and I had a little 2-2 on me and I pulled out the 2-2. So anyway, he went back over there and told the dudes, and so they came over, but they came over respectfully. You know, they came, because I guess he went over there and told them, yo, them dudes are strapped, you know what I'm saying? And one of them got a big ass gun, because back then, a tray 8 was a big gun. A tray 8 was a cop gun. Most dudes only had 22s and 25s. We had a trade back then. You had a cannon, you know? So Kay had the cannon, you know what I'm saying? I had the little 2-2. But anyway, he must have went over there and told them, yo, them dudes are strapped. Them dudes ain't no punks or nothing. So they came over respectfully, you know, and introduced themselves and, you know, asked where we was from and this and that. And then when we told them our names, they found out we had knowledge of self. So then they was like, oh, okay, so it's a few guards. It wasn't too many guards out there then. The only ones I remember was, it was OD Shabazz, Victoria Shabazz, and them two brothers, they had students that lived in a building that I knew, Naquan and Naheem, and a brother named Radu. You know, and then other than that, on the other side of the brothers, I remember a guy named El Sun. But most of the other brothers didn't get knowledge of self until later on, you know. And
who
many
had
of
gave
them,
y'all knowledge of self, part self? Who had gave y'all knowledge of self in Brookline?
Well, Father Devon was my enlightener. My brother had an enlightener named Bishme. May he rest. May both of them rest in peace. Both of them returned to the essence. Recently, in the past few years, since I've been home, both of them returned to the essence. But yeah, Father Devon was my enlightener, and Bishme was my brother's enlightener. So, but when we got to Tompkins, after these same brothers that were scheming on us became our comrades and all that, you know. But anyway, and we wound up getting in the beef with people from other projects, you know, because it's always been rival projects with, you know, Marcy and Sumner, you know, that's just how it was back then. You know, I remember one of the first beefs my brother got into, and the same thing when the first, okay, I'm gonna deal with his own first. One of the first beefs my brother got into was somebody, we was at a jam at 33. 33 is a school, junior high school across the street from Tompkins, but it's between Tompkins and Marcy. It's on Stockton Street. And they might have changed it to Martin Luther King now. I think that's the name of, you know. But anyway, it was Stockton Street back then, and we was at the jam there. They have a behind the school. It's just like where the schoolyard is, where the yard, you know, where they would have the baseball field, handball, all that kind of stuff. You know, the DJs used to put all the equipment there. They used to plug in to the lights back then and have the whole sound system set up and be playing music. And we was at the jam back there. So mad people was there from Tompkins, Sumner, Marcy. And me and my brother was standing in the crowd, you know, vibing to the music and all that. And somebody snatched my brother's Kango, you know, from behind, you know. And so he snatched the Kango and ran. So my brother ran after his ass and started shooting after, started busting at him, you know. But the dude didn't get hit, and nobody else got hit, luckily. But anyway, you know, my brother, you know, but anyway, but yeah, that was when things were starting to change, you know. Then I had an experience too one time.
Did they find out who that was though? Did y'all find out who it was that snatched the
Nah,
Kango?
we never found out who it was. We never found out who it was. But yeah, nah, we never found out who it was. It was a short brother. But I could have been anybody, you know. It was a short brother in height. That much we knew. He weaved his way through and ran back to the projects. But yeah, we had a little something with Marcy, because I remember one time I was coming up the Murder Willoughby train station. When you get off the train, you know, or the G train, Tompkins, you got to walk a block down to get to Tompkins. We have to walk past a big Cascade factory used to be there. You know, when you get up at the corner, you come up at the corner of Myrtle and Marcy. And when you walk down to Tompkins and Myrtle, where the pizza shop is, the corner of the pizza shop there, you got to walk past this big factory they used to have there. Cascade is no longer there. They done built houses there now. But
what you mean, Cascade, the dish detergent?
Yeah, it was a big Cascade factory there, yeah. But it's no longer there. So we used to sometimes cut through Stockton Street. That's the side street, because you don't want to go Myrtle Avenue, you know, all the traffic and everything. Stockton Street is the side street, you know, between Tompkins and Marcy. And that's like a blind spot. Like, you know, like a lot of people get robbed there. If somebody gonna rob somebody in Marcy or Tompkins, a lot of times instead of going down the Ave, they cut down Stockton Street or one of them side streets. You know what I'm saying? Because chances are the police might be riding down Myrtle Avenue, but they ain't gonna be riding down Stockton Street a lot of times. You know, so a lot of times when things happen between Tompkins and Marcy, a lot of times, you know, we use Stockton Street to go back and forth. But yeah, so I was getting off the train at Myrtle and Willoughby, and somebody snatched my Kango. Same thing happened. As I was going up the stairs, there was 3 dudes behind me. Somebody snatched my Kango. So when I turned around and looked, all 3 of them put their hands under their shirt, like, you know, and was moving their hand around, so I wouldn't know which one of them had to have. We was young back then, but I was mad as hell. It was 3 of them. So I went up the stairs, and it was a garbage can right there on the corner. So I knew the garbage can was there. So I went in there and grabbed a bottle, like a big old gold bottle or something, and ran up they ran through the little park right there. I threw the bottle with them. They ran and got away. But I found it. So I was mad. I got home. I went back out to Marcy, and I did a little investigation and found out who snatched my hat. You know, and it was a dude named Merck. So me and this dude had a one-on-one. You know, he had his little partners there though. Merck had Metcalf, I don't know if that was his brother, and Nugget, they had a little crew, you know. And I went out there with a few dudes from Tompkins, but what wound up happening is they wound up jumping us. I ain't gonna front, they got the best of us. Me and this dude was fighting, and as we was fighting, like, a few dudes just getting a few punches in, you know, in the middle of because they, you know, when people fighting, and a bunch of people come and see you fighting, and they come and surround, you know, be a crowd. So dudes got little punches and kicks in that wasn't involved in the fight and all that, you know. So they ain't gonna front. They got the best of us. So we went back to the projects.
You said y'all was in Marcy? Y'all was in Marcy fighting though?
We was in Marcy fighting them. Yep. So we went back to Tompkins, and then I told we had a crazy team, bro. And we went, so the next day we went up to Eastern District. I can't name everybody that was there, but I can tell you, if my memory serves me correctly, my boy Darkel was definitely there. He was a fighter. And another thing I want to say, I got to mention this too, you know, about brothers from Tompkins. Tompkins is known for people that fight, people that box, people that's good with their hands. You know, this has been historic for a long, long time. It's a brother that come from out there named Tony Robinson, and he used to train and teach a lot of people. It's another brother named Mark Berry. That's Darkel's older brother. You know, he's the Mark Breukelen, the fighter. You know, it's another Shabu. It's a lot of brothers who they trained. You know, Darkel was good with his hands too. He was more of a street fighter, but you know, he was ring smart too, because boxing is almost like in his DNA. So, but yeah, it's a lot of brothers that was good with their hand. Every Saturday morning, we used to be training and sparring with each other and all that. So it was a lot of dudes that come out of Tompkins that's nice with their hands. So anyway, and then I had my man Shasha, who's a knockout artist. You know, he's a street fighter too. He ain't like a ring fighter. But anyway, I ain't see too many dudes he fought that he ain't knocked out. So anyway, when I went back and told him what happened, we went up to Eastern the next day, and we had a crazy crew. You know, I know Darkel was with us, me and my brother was there, Sunshine was there, Born Jess was there, B-Asiatic was there, I think Universal, I can't name everybody, I believe probably Raleigh was there. I think we had like Naquan, Naheem, Raju, all the guards probably was definitely there. You know what I'm saying? But we had they had a crazy crew too. They had a crazy crew, but this was the thing though. I don't know if they knew we was coming. Maybe, I don't know. I might have told them like before, I might have said, yo, I'll see y'all tomorrow at school, because I ain't gonna front, they got the best of us that night at Marcy. They had us outnumbered, you know? So, but you know, the next day when we went up to Eastern, this was the new Eastern. This wasn't the old Eastern. It was the Eastern that's on Grand Street. I think it's 250 Grand Street, but it's the new Eastern. The old Eastern was by Marcy Avenue on the J train, to stop before you go across the Williamsburg Bridge. I used to go to that one too, but that one has shut down. They opened up a new one. So when this took place, it must have been 80 or 81, whenever the new one opened, because it was at the new one. But I remember going up there, and as soon as we seen them, shot popped on them. Shot punched one of them in the face, and it was on. And it was our crew against day crew, and you know, we put that work in. You know what I'm saying? We was stomping a lot. We ran them dudes down to the L train. They was getting on the train. We was punching them, kicking them, and all. As they was getting on the L train, pulled up, we was still hitting dudes and all that. But we got them back. But it's all love, because a lot of them brothers I ran into in prison. Another thing I love about Bed-Stuy and the brothers from Bed-Stuy is that even some of us that had beef in the streets, you know, as long as it wasn't beef where nobody killed nobody's family or nothing like that, or nothing crazy, you know, if it was something over some jewelry or some sneakers or something like that, a lot of them beefs was put to the side and squashed, you know. So a lot of these brothers that I ran into in the system, and I seen them and they see me, it was all love. We didn't have no beef with each other, you know what I'm saying? That was stuff that happened when we was young, you know. But yeah, you know, we had to come through the ranks and go through that when we came to there. We was living in Breukelen. Breukelen wasn't like Tompkins, you know. Tompkins was a quantum leap, you know, to go back to 1979, to go there at that time, you know, it was different, you know. So yeah, we had to adapt, you know, to the new environment that we moved to. But another thing I wanted to say was, as I had mentioned in the video, one of the brothers, you know, and I look at my videos, I critique myself as well. One of my comrades was telling me too, you know, because we were speaking about, when I was telling about when we was doing burglaries and stuff like that back in the days, and robberies and stuff like that. At first, we was doing it, you know, to Caucasian people. Later on, when other people started getting robbed, it was because other people was trying to rob us and trying to take our shit and stuff like that. So that's when that started happening. You know, at first we wasn't messing with, you know, with no other brothers that had. It wasn't nobody in the hood that we seen that we was, you know, we wanted to juke them for their shit or nothing like that. You know what I'm saying? But then dudes trying to move on us and stuff like that. So, you know, then it became, you know, survival of the fittest. So now, you know, we had to adapt to the circle. I'm not saying that we had to do that, but that's part of the reason. You know, my brother was really into robbing drug dealers and stuff like that. He wasn't robbing, you know, your everyday hardworking citizen, and you know, and people that, that start earning their money like that. You know what I'm saying? He was robbing, other dudes that was about that life. And it's important for people to understand that because, you could easily mistake and think that, he was just out there robbing any and everybody. Nah, and, he gave back in a lot of ways, Like I was saying, when we moved in also, like a lot of brothers that didn't have knowledge of self, me and my brother gave them knowledge of self, And even though, so later on, before you know it, half the projects, I ain't say half the projects, but a lot of brothers in the projects had knowledge of self. A lot of brothers in the projects, was bonding, and then, we started, brothers started doing time, other brothers started. In the 80s, we lost a lot of brothers too,
Let me ask you this, though. What was it, or was it something in your household or the way y'all was brought up that made y'all slide off into crime, or was it the neighborhood?
No, it was nothing in the household. When we lived in Brookline, before we moved to Tompkins, we started, into that kind of lifestyle. And part of it was, to be honest with you, my parents always worked. My mother, father, they always, kept a job. They never was on any public assistance or anything like that, But we didn't have money, like we didn't have no car and all that stuff. My parents was able, to pay the rent, put, food on the table, clothes on our back, that kind of stuff. But we wasn't able to get the high end stuff back then. Like I remember, when I was growing up, this is before Clarks and Bally's and all that stuff. Back, even before British Walkers and Playboys and all that. I remember back when brothers was wearing marshmallow shoes and herb shoes and all these other stuff. I remember when brothers was wearing the Pro-Keds and the Converses and all that. Before that, we couldn't even, back then, our parents couldn't afford that. They would get us PF flyers, you know what I'm saying, or what they would call rejects, you know what I'm saying? So at a certain point, me and my brother, when I started, getting hours, because the family was able to we wasn't starving, or we didn't have clothes, but we wanted some of the finer things in life that we seen. But then, I also mentioned the fact that, I gotta be honest about this too, once we got knowledge of self for us back then was almost like a double-edged sword, because back then, when we first learned, a lot of, after we learned the manifestation, pre-mathematics 12 and stuff like that, before we start learning 120 lessons, the first thing you learn is to commit these lessons to memory, the recitation, and what I mean by that is, if you through repetitiveness, you learn to quote them, because somebody might come and ask you today's mathematics, so you have to know it, and they might ask you what it is in the 12 Jews, or what is in mathematics, or what is in the 1 of 40, or the 1 of 14, or student enrollment, or whatever. So we learned to commit it to memory. So back then we was young, and we studied and we learned, we had knowledge of self. But to be honest with you, most of us, I'm being honest about myself, my brother, and some of the people, some of the comrades that I grew up. Some of us, we learned the lessons as far as to recite them and all that, but many of us didn't internalize them until we started, like, when we got deeper into them. In other words, when I started doing time in jail, I'm sure my brother did too. When you in the streets ripping and running, you don't have as much time as you would if you were incarcerated. When you incarcerated and you locked in that cell is like alive. You know what I'm saying? You become a scientist in there, studying and reading and stuff like that. So that's when you can really get into your lessons, and you can really learn to internalize and gain understanding to your lessons. Because it's the one thing to be able to read something and recite it or quote it, but to gain understanding it, you know what I'm saying? So a lot of we had knowledge of self, but we wasn't applying understanding, back then, because, like I said, ripping and running and not really eternalizing it back then, So that's why when sometimes, people wonder and say, how did these brothers have knowledge of self, and they was, doing, what we was doing. And another thing I admitted too, in the documentary was that when we got knowledge of self, and we found out what had happened to our people as far as, the transatlantic slave trade and the slaughter and massacre of the Indians and all these kind of things, and how they stole our heritage and our history, they stole our legacy, and, and what they did to us, everything from, I mentioned all these things about, slavery, to lynching and burning at the stake, and the mass slaughter, massacre of the Indians, all all that was done to us as a people, you know. So when we found out about that, it made, you know, we seen that they took what was rightfully ours. We felt like when we was robbing them and taking from them, we was only taking back what was rightfully ours because what they had done to us and done to our people, you know. So that was another thing. That's why I said that Nas itself, for some of us, was like a double-edged sword back then, because we, you know, it gave you having knowing that you were the original man, the original set, you were direct descendant of the Creator, that you were God. You know what I'm saying? Gives you a power, you know, because a power that we never had. You know what I'm saying? The same thing like for a person get a gun for the first time, and you actually use it, and you got the power that you could bust somebody, that you could take a life. You know, it's a power that, you know, it gives you a power, a certain kind of power. You have to learn how to harness that when you get power like that. You know, it's like, you know, you're not supposed to show your, like, I've never been into like, I ain't gonna say I never took advantage of nobody, I'd be lying, but I'm just saying, cause I remember when I came home, I was building with some childhood friends of mine from Breukelen, and back in the days when we used to play sports, we used to play baseball and all that stuff, and they told me one time I took all their bats and gloves, and I don't even remember doing that, but, you know, they told, and I was never, you know, considered a bully and used to bully people, but I guess that one time probably I did. But anyway, yeah, I never got pleasure out of like bullying people. Like, so, for instance, say you get ready to get into a fight with somebody, and the other person don't want to fight. You know, you don't punch a person in the face or hit somebody who don't want to fight, whether they be scared or not. Whatever the case is, if they don't want to fight, then you leave it there. You know, unless they violate or something like that. You know, but anyway, you know, so for somebody who would take advantage or hit somebody who's defenseless, who ain't gonna fight back, that's some coward stuff, because you know the person ain't even gonna fight back. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, that's you don't take advantage of the weak. This is like on an island, but, you know, just to change channel on you for a minute. When we was in the house and people used to come to getting on the phone, you know, in the house I'm in, if I'm in there and new brothers come in, brothers or not, I'm letting dudes get on the phone. It don't matter if they, whatever their nationality might be. It could be an old Caucasian man, you know what I'm saying? Because everybody deserves the right to get on that phone to try to call a lawyer, to try to get out of jail, to try to get bail, or to try to get a visit, you know what I'm saying? So, you know, I wasn't with being in the house and tell dudes, nah, you can't get on the phone, you know what I'm saying? You know, I understand if it's at night, it's slot time and all that, I don't understand all that's different, but in the daytime, anybody should be able to get on that phone. They shouldn't have to go to the CO and say, I can't get on the phone, they won't let me get on the phone, or nothing like that, you know? So,
yeah, oppression overall, just oppression is whack. Like, I'm not into people that just oppress people for nothing. Like, you know what I mean? It's
because
okay.
They can.
Yeah, that's always been corny. When was it the first time when, you know, after y'all was in Tompkins, when was the first time where something real serious happened, where, you know, it wasn't no more kid games no more, like it got real serious?
It was maybe at the time where my brother did a little bid and came home, and I might have been home. I did a little bid, he might have been out there and stuff like that. I'm talking about even in the early 80s, because we started bidding as early as 1981. My brother started bidding a little bit before me, because he's a year older than me. But the first bid he did, like first Rikers Island bid he did, was like in 1980, but it wasn't a long bid. It was probably like a 30-day or 60-day bid, like something where you went to the 6th building or something, you know. But both of us went to the island in 1981. You know, on my birthday, we caught a bid together. We caught a case together. You know, but
and what? Yeah, how old was y'all?
It was on my 16th birthday, and he was 17. His birthday is 3 days before mine. It's 1 year and 3 days before mine. But we both Scorpios. But his birthday is 1 year and 3 days before mine. His birthday is actually on Halloween, October 31st, and mine is November 3rd. Then I got a little brother, his birthday is November 2nd. Yeah, our birthdays almost came 1, 2, and 3, but he's the 31st.
And you said they sent y'all to the 4 building in 81?
Yeah, but yeah, we had it was like, yeah, it was 4 brothers involved, and 3 went to the island, 1 went to Spofford, but me and my brother went to the 4, but obviously they separated us, we wasn't together, you know. But I remember when we was in the bullpen, because it was my birthday, so you know, I was fly, you know, I had on wallabies, I had on members only leather, I had on like some think I had on some Calvin Klein jeans or something, you know. My brother had on Adidas and probably I don't remember everything he had on. You know, I know he had a little jewelry back then. We wasn't wearing no crazy jewelry, nothing like that. But I remember that as soon as we got, you know, back then it was as soon as we got in the pants, we was fighting. You know, that's how it was. But the good thing about back then was it wasn't too many razors. They didn't even have scalpels in the system, and dudes wasn't really moving around like that with ice picks and flatheads and stuff like that. So a lot of times, you know, if you caught a bid back then, like in 80, 81 or 82, everything was pretty much with the hands. You know, and like I said, being from where I'm from and coming from Tompkins and all that, we knew how to fight. You know what I'm saying? So you can't. It's good. You gotta know how to survive without a weapon. It's good to have a weapon. You ain't always gonna have a weapon. So you gotta know how to survive without a weapon as well. So it don't hurt, you know, to have a little knuckle game.
So what, dudes tried to run down on you for them wallows?
Yeah, but it was funny because being that my brother had did time before, and I never did time before, you know, the crazy thing was most of the stuff I did all my life, you know, and I started young, probably from like the age of 11 to like 60. That was on my 16th birthday when I got knocked for that. Most of the stuff I did, I got away with. I had never got caught. I'd never been to juvie, Spofford, or none of that. You know, like a lot of my comrades, like Blue Boy and Hamo and Tut and all them, they've been to Juve, they've been going to Tryon and all them spots, you know, since 12 and 13 and all that, with Tyson and all them, you know, from way back then. I wasn't bidding back then. You know, the one time I went to Spofford, I was actually 17, but I told him I was 16 and told him I was 15. You know, because I always looked younger than I was, and I wound up going there and getting a date. They eventually found out and all that, you know, that I wasn't. But for the time being, I had went to Spofford, but I never did a juvenile bid. So when I got to the island, my brother, before we got to the island, when we was in the bullpen, my brother told me, he already told me how it was. He said, listen, I'm gonna sit on this side, of the pen on this bench over here, you sit over there. He said, if anybody come over there and try to act stupid, to try to size you up, or try to take the wallows, or try to move on you for any of that shit, I'm gonna pop on them. The same thing if somebody tried to come over here, you know, and size me up, because back then, a dude would sit next to you, and a dude might size you up by putting his foot next to yours. You know, that's how it was back then. Motherfuckers see if he wear the same size as you, and if he did, you got to fight for those. You heard? That's how it was. So
it was the leather joints. You had the leather joints or the suede joints.
Nah, I had some burgundy leather wallabies and a burgundy members only leather jacket. Shit, I had like 6 fights my first 2 days. I'm gonna keep it 100 with you. By the time I went back to court, when I went to arraignment, when I went to court, they offered me probation. I took that shit. I ain't gonna front it. I wasn't trying to go back to the island, you know. That shit was wild back then. I wasn't no punk enough.
Listen, I got a story. I got a story on my channel. I kept it official. I got a story on my channel about how when I first came through, niggas surrounded me with picks and razors and robbed me for everything. You feel me? But by the time I left that shit, I was robbing motherfuckers. You feel what I'm saying? So, you know, that's just Rikers Island culture. But I know that Burgundy members only with the Burgundy Wallows, I know they was thirsty.
Let me tell you something. You know how it was back then? When you get in the 4 building, look, I went straight to the 4 building. When you get to them houses, when they put you in between them gates, the whole day room come to that window looking, when the new jacks is coming in, because, you know, you come in with your floor cards and the CO's bringing you whatever, and then he putting you in your cell, you coming in with your little, everybody know you're a new jack, you got your mattress rolled up, you know, with your towel, your little setup, you know, the washcloth, the green Rikers Island cup, the toothpaste, the state soap and the toothbrush and all that, and the wash rag, probably, yeah, so when everybody know you rolling in, you a new jack. So as soon as you pull up between them gates, dudes is coming to that gate, looking at through the window like vultures. It's a big plexiglass right there. Dudes is looking to see if you got jewelry on it, checking out your footwear, checking out everything. So when you come in there, you know what's on. You know what I mean? That's how it was. It's like the sharks. So you got to be prepared to, when you get in there, you know what it is. And like I said, but back then you had to have a knuckle game because it wasn't really too many raids. But one thing I respected though was dudes to give you a one-on-one. Dude, you know, it wasn't dudes just gonna jump you like that. You know, sometimes that was really some punk shit. If you came in, a bunch of dudes moved on you and jumped you. That was happening to dudes too. But some dudes would be like, yo, you know, You want a one-on-one for those Wallows, for those Adidas, for those Pumas. You know, I remember a dude. One of the first time my brother told me when he went to an island, in the Ford building, he had some black and silver Pumas on, and this dude was sizing them up. So the dude sat next to him, and I said the dude was saying, "Yo, he didn't just come at him like, yo, what you want to do for those Pumas?" He was saying, "Yo," he offered him a trade. He said, "I got a pair of Adidas." My brother said, "Listen, man." My brother told him he needed an ox, he needed a razor. He said, "Listen, I don't care if your Adidas ain't brand new or is in good condition as these Pumas, but get me an ox and give me Adidas, and you can have the Pumas." You know, but my brother knew the dude was trying to play him for the black and silver Pumas. So when the dude went and got the ox and all that and gave it to my brother ripped his ass and told him, "Don't ever try to play him like that." You know, I was one of the first dudes he cut on the island. Because the dude tried to play him for the black and silver Pumas. They told me about that. I heard about it, you know, because it was brothers in the house that told me about it. But I wasn't there. But, you know, that's how it was back then. Dudes would definitely try you.
Yeah, man. And it ain't even nothing personal. You could be the realest nigga in the world. It's just dudes is in there 50 deep against you.
And sometimes dudes don't even know who you are. Let me tell you something. Sometimes dudes know who you are. You know, we had a crazy experience too, because this is my word. Like that case that I was saying, when me and my brother caught the case together. Like I said, when I went to court, I copped out. Right? I'm keeping it 100. I copped out. I was like, I'm not going back. They offered me probation. I said, I'm taking it. Right? Plus, you know. So anyway, my brother he didn't cop out. He wound up staying there and fighting the case, and he didn't have to go to trial. He wound up beating the case at a pre-trial hearing. But anyway, prior to beating it at a pre-trial hearing, I was going on the island visit him. And, you know, I remember coming to see him in the Ford building, and one time I came up there, you know, I had mad jewels, because like I said, I was hitting cribs, so I had mad jewels. And when I was in the visiting room, you know, and I visiting K, with mad dudes in the visiting room, you know. So before I left, I gave him some jewelry. And these dudes were staring, like when they see me taking chains off and giving them to me and putting rings on his fingers. These motherfuckers told me, yo, I got so mad, I got up, I said, listen, if any of you motherfuckers try anything, if my brother called home and tell me any of you motherfuckers tried anything, your people got to come across this motherfucking bridge with me. So if any of you motherfuckers violate, I'm going to see your people on the other side of this bridge. I made a fucking statement right there in the visiting room in the Ford building. And the motherfuckers, ain't nobody tried shit. I meant that shit, man, because motherfuckers was scheming, you know? And it was wild like that back then. You know, first I thought these motherfuckers might try to move on me in the visiting room, but they wasn't going to try that.
That was the Ford building?
The Ford building, yeah. And back then, you know, some of the brothers that we know now, we didn't know back then. You know what I'm saying? That was like 81. Some brothers we didn't meet till later on, like 82, 83 and stuff like that. Unless we knew them from the town, you know, some of the other brothers.
Who was on there, though? What type of dudes was on the island at that time?
Man, everybody was on the island, man. I mean, like, okay, not like that, but once we start getting to 82 and 83, talking about Blue Boy, Tut, Bogard, Hamo, Bush, you got Nigel from the, you got Bronx. They had Top Chinese Smurf from the Bronx, another dude named Nigel from the Bronx. They had a few Bronx dudes there that was rapping too, but it was mad Brooklyn dudes there too. You know, you had Gabessa on them from East New York. You know, you had Saint. You had a bunch of dudes there. I couldn't even remember to tell you everybody, man, but everybody came through there. Big Unique from Marcy came through. Shabu came through. Man, you know, Ron K from LG came through. Mad Guards from Fort Greene was coming through. Remember, Law Just Crazy Ass came through with mad jewelry on, and the whole Ford building was on him. You heard? It was crazy because he came through, and I was in 6th floor. He came straight to 6th main, you know, and everybody upstairs was talking, and he found I was downstairs. He was like, yo, come go to the yard in the morning. So I went to the yard in the morning. He came out there with mad jewelry. Everybody came out there because they heard this dude came in with mad shine on him. So, we went out to the yard and all that, you know, and everybody was out there. I mean, like a lot of dudes that I named, then some was out there, you know, and so they was all looking at us scheming, you know. I mean, because dudes, he had enough shit on that if a posse of dudes would have ran down him, everybody could have got a little chain or trinket or something, you know. That's how much shit he had on, you know. But Law Just was crazy. And Allah just was like, Allah just started, Allah just said, what the fuck is all y'all motherfuckers looking at? You know what I'm saying? He was like, I know where all y'all motherfuckers live at. You know what I'm saying? And he just started, wow, he started yelling out where motherfuckers live at. I know where you live at, I know where you live at. Like this, we said. He said, "Let me tell you something. I'm getting bailed out tonight. If any of you motherfuckers try anything, when you call home tonight, I'll answer the motherfucking I'll answer the phone with a gun to whoever's head, your girl head, whoever your loved one is. I answer the fucking phone with a gun to their head." He's like, "I know where all y'all motherfuckers live at." Lord, just was crazy. So, dude, just look, but ain't nobody trying to make a move on him. But showing up, he got bailed out that night.
You said he had mad different chains on?
Different chains, different rings. He had bracelets, all kinds of shit. He had mad shit on. Back then, we used to wear all kinds of shit. Because being that when we was hitting cribs and stuff like that, sometimes, you know, I had a stopwatch piece I used to wear. You know, you find all kinds of different stuff. You know, but
was you on the island when literally, like, when stopwatches was a thing in the streets, when dudes was rocking stopwatches, like the regular plastic ones, the red ones and the yellow ones, they was letting dudes keep those on the alley if you came through with one of them?
I don't think so. I didn't see that. I had a gold one. I had a real gold one that I used to wear. But I'm talking about that you wear on your, you know, a stopwatch that you wear on your neck. I'm talking about. I ain't talking about a wristwatch.
Yeah, you talking the old school shits, like. But
you
remember, it was a point in time where everybody was wearing, you know, the regular plastic ones that they would sell on Picken or Belmont or downtown Brooklyn. They had the regular, and then, you know, some dudes had gold joints iced out and all of that.
Yeah. See, I didn't buy mine. I got mine, but, you know, I had certain pieces that I kept. A lot of times, we used to sell the diamonds and keep the gold and stuff like that, you know. I'm talking about back in the days, because we used to go to the Diamond District. At first, when we first was getting money, we didn't know about 47th and 50th Street. We didn't know about the scales, the Diamond District. So we used to be selling our shit on Picken Avenue or selling our shit to Lenny's in the hood, you know, and getting jerked because we didn't know the value. And, you know, you go to the Diamond District, that's when they properly test your shit and properly weigh your shit and will give you more money, you know. And also, it was a lot of dudes out there that were scamming dudes too. It was One-Armed Monk and all them other brothers out there. And they used to be, some of them, they would steer you to people. Like, if they say, "Shorty, you got jewels, yo, go and see, holler at my man." They steer you to go on the spot. And if you go in there and sell something, the dude that working there get them a percentage because you know, they steered you in there. Or they'll try to buy it from you right there themselves. They might pull out mad hundreds and be like, "Yo, Shorty, what you got? What you want for that? I give you this for that," or whatever, you know. But brothers used to be out there. But at the Diamond District, that's where you really get, you know. And that's another thing at Diamond, you can go in this store and if they ain't talking what you want for that, then you go in another store, and sell that to whoever give you the highest offer. You know, but that's how it was back then. We used to go to the Diamond District and sell our jewels, because prior to that, we would, you know, if we didn't go there, you ain't gonna get the proper value for it. You'll get jerked for it. The Diamond District was slick. They were slick too, because if you go there and say you had a ring and say that shit had stones in it, it could be emeralds or rubies or sapphires or topaz, whatever kind of stones it might be, or pearl or something. They'll try to play you. Okay, they gonna scrape it. They gonna scrape it on the black, you know, on the black rock, and then put the acid on to test how many carats it is and all that. Then they gonna weigh it on a scale. I'm talking about this how it was back in the day. And they gonna weigh it on a scale, right? But they're gonna say we got to take the stone out because the stone is giving it more weight than what it is. So a lot of times, you know, they used to punch the stone out and act like they throwing it away or putting it to the side. And then test your ring, and if it's real, weigh it and say, "This is what it's worth. This is what I give it for you. Give you, you know, I'll pay you for it." So now, if you just accepted that, a lot of times you wouldn't even get the stone back that was off to the side. I used to tell them, "All right, if you take the stone out, give me the stone. Don't throw that stone away." You know, and if I sell you the ring, I want the stone back. But if I don't sell you the ring, I still want the stone back, you know, and you're not just going to punch my stone out and act like you threw it away. They used to have a dummy garbage can that they throw shit in that ain't really a garbage can. You know what I'm saying? And at the end of the day, they go in there and take all the shit they threw in there, you know. I used to go to skills on the regular, so I used to see different shit, but you know, they'll get you too if you don't know. So I and all that other stuff, you know, and learn what to look for, you know, and start learning a little bit about pearls and other stones, you know, black ivory, and like I said, they got sapphire, they got so many different precious stones that you know that have value that sometimes we don't even know about.
Word. Some of them rubies that was in that back in the days jewelry, the rubies was real.
Yeah. Yeah, I love all that stuff, man. I try to keep different stones. I like, you know, emeralds, sapphires, rubies, all that. I got rings and bracelets and stuff that contains that stuff. Sometimes when I have a jeweler that I deal with. I haven't dealt with in a while though. I have him put stuff like that in my medallion or whatever. You know, so you can't always buy stuff like that. You know, I got an Indian head ring that I bought that had got every one of them in there. It got a diamond and it got everything, all the like birthstones. You know, all of the whole spectrum of colors.
But yo, let me ask you this: was the Bronx and Brooklyn getting along in the Fort building back in those days?
For the most part, they were. You know, let me tell you this: I had a little incident, you know, with some Bronx dudes. You know, because I had a case in the Bronx. You know, just like you were saying about with you. You know, I ain't got to lie. I keep it 100 about everything. Dudes got me before on the island. Dudes jumped me. Dudes caught me I had a case in the Bronx, and I was in the bullpen with nothing but Bronx dudes. And there was a dude there, you know, may he rest in peace, a dude named Playboy, big dude from the Bronx. He was one of the first crowns with the Latin Kings and all. But this is before all of that. You know what I'm saying? Before he was involved with all that and before all that. Anyway, but I just, you know what he became later on, because me and the brother became cool later on after all this stuff. You know, but yeah, he gassed some dudes up, because me and him used to be in 6th low together, and I guess some of the Latin brothers didn't like me because I didn't speak Spanish. So they thought that I really knew Spanish, and I just didn't want to speak it. And they used to be like, oh, he be with the Morenos and this and that, you know, on some real racist shit. So, you know, I used to check them. I say, first of all, bro, you're black, but you just don't have knowledge of self. You don't know it. You're Indian. You know, our people been conquered by the Spaniards and the Portuguese. So, through the process of acculturation, they impose their language, their culture on us. And that's why you think you different. That's why you think, or you want to be white, or you want to be in between. You understand what I'm saying? You don't even realize that you're black. You know, but anyway, you know, I used to be roasting them. So, some of them didn't like me because I didn't speak Spanish. You know, anyway, he was one of them. So, one day, he gassed brothers up. When we was in the bullpen, he lied and told them that when we was in 6th lower, I wasn't letting Spanish dudes get on the phone. Somebody told me later on. He told them some real bullshit. That's how he gassed dudes up to jump me in the bullpen. So like 40 dudes backed out, fucking razors and the flatheads. They, you know, they had me trapped. I ain't gonna front. They took a little shine from me. But this is my word is bond. I got all my shit back, and the motherfuckers got hit, because this is what happened.
What you mean? They pulled out shit in the court pens?
The Rikers Island bullpen. When you in HDM, when you coming down early in the morning, there's different pens. They got different pens: a Brooklyn pen, a Manhattan pen, a Bronx pen, a Queens pen, because they got different buses that's going to different courts. So you going to that respective bullpen. So I'm in the bullpen with a bunch of Bronx dudes. See what I'm saying? And this dude, I didn't know it, but he was gassing them up and all that. So at a certain point, these dudes surround me and back me down. They had me, you know. So they got me for my shine, right? But check out what happened. Somebody that was in that pen that know me told somebody like word is bond. Somebody. Next thing you know, I heard somebody say, "Yo, I was born." So next thing you know, I hear shit popping off in the other pen. You know what I'm saying? There was a brother from Tompkins there that heard that motherfuckers moved on me, so he moved on one of the dudes right then and there, you know? And then my man Joe Guzman, you know, found out too. But let me tell you what really happened. This is the crazy shit. So I called home that night, right? So my brother said, yo, I'm gonna ask you something. You know, I was like, what's up? He said, the motherfuckers get you for your shine, man. He said, don't lie to me, man, tell me the truth. And I was like, yeah, I ain't gonna front, man. I said I was in the fucking bullpen with some Bronx dudes and shit before I went to court this morning. Motherfuckers caught me out there, backed me down, had me surrounded and shit. So, you know, nigga. So he was like, all right, that's all I wanted to know, because he told me the guard Ron Du or Ken Du, one of the guards from Crown Heights that was in the house, said he seen a dude and the dude had 2 of my rings on, and they knew my jewelry. So he said, this motherfucker had your rings on. He said, so he said he called, you know, he waited till, he called my brother and asked my brother. My brother said, I don't know, wait, I'm waiting till my brother call home and I'm going to ask him. So my brother found out. My brother told the guard, yeah, that's him. They motherfucking piped the dude, knocked some of his fucking teeth out of his mouth. They got the rings back. But all the dudes that was involved got it. And I got my shit back. But yeah, motherfuckers caught me. I ain't gonna front. Motherfuckers caught me out there. You know, this dude. And then the crazy shit was this, and the dude Playboy, I seen him later on. After I went up top, I got the Comstock. And when I got the Comstock, this is right after my brother got killed, Rhodes Farm, because I was in Mount McGregor. And I called the assault on staff there, like, right after my brother got killed. You know, anyway, because I had the police that tried to search me and all this shit, and I had something on. I had a fucking a rug cutter on me, and you know I didn't let him search me. So I threw his ass. You know, when he had me on the wall, I got off the wall. I threw his ass, pushed him, you know, to the side and jetted and ran and got rid of that shit. By the time they ran me down and handcuffed me and shackled me and all that shit, they didn't get shit. I got rid of it. But anyway, I wound up going to. They charged me with assault on staff for that shit. But I wound up going to Comstock. And I went to the not the box, but they had a long-term keep lock section there, like B2, B3, B4. I remember down on the flats, you know, Pappy Mason, a bunch of dudes was down there. Papa Smitty, the one that caught the body in Green Haven, you know, a bunch of dudes was down there that I was vibing with. But anyway, I did an appeal on that assault on staff, and I got it modified and wound up getting out. You know what I'm saying? Because I said, part of the reason that I did what I did is when the police, because you know these motherfuckers lie on us. So I said when he put me on the wall and was searching me, he found me in my testicle area and this and that, and that's why I came off the wall and I pushed his ass or whatever, you know. So you know, anyway, I said I said this motherfucker was a known homosexual in the facility and blah 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 blah. You know, anyway, that shit got reversed. They didn't dismiss it. They modified it. I got a time cut. So I wind up coming out to population. And when I came to, so they moved me to the other side of B. I came on the other side, and they moved me like B6 or something on the other side. And when I went to the other side in population, you know, as soon as I pull up, dudes see me. Dudes, you know, they see you coming down the gallery with your bags and all that. So dudes start calling me and calling my name and all. So I find out this motherfucker Playboy is there, right in the area, because after all these dudes start calling me, yo, you need anything, and sending me stuff and all that, this motherfucker called me, yo, Born. I'm like, yo, who that? It's Playboy. I said, what's up? I said, yo, you going to the yard tonight? I said, yeah, I'm gonna be out there. He said, I'm gonna see you in the yard tonight. I said, all right, bro, I see you. He said, let me rephrase it. I'm gonna talk to you in the yard. I said, I'll be out there. When I came out there, this was my first time in the yard because I just went to population. When we came out to talk, he walked me straight to where the sergeant shack is. So if I would have did anything to him, it would have been right there near the sergeant shack. And this is my word. As soon as I came out there, but I didn't go straight out there and step straight to him. As soon as I came straight out there, I had mad dudes there. D-Wiz was there. Homicide from Nostrand Avenue was there. Big Natural from Sumner was there. I can't even remember, but I had mad comrades that was there. And they was like, yo, Born, what's up? It's beef. I was like, nah, everything good.
What he was saying what he was saying when y'all spun the yard?
Oh, he didn't spin with me. Me and him was walking. I didn't know where he was walking me. You know, we was walking. He walked me right to where the sergeant shack. When you first come out in that yard, if you walk straight, like don't make a right. If you just walk straight, when you first come into the yard, if you walk straight, you go run into the sergeant shack. And if you walk straight, then you could go around the perimeter of the yard going from left to right. But if you come out and make a right, then you can go around the perimeter of the ward going from right to left. But when we came out, he walked me straight. And when we got right by the sergeant shack, he stopped right there, and that's where he was having the conversation at. But I didn't know where I was at, because like I said, it was the first time I was in that yard, because I just came out. I've been to Comstock 4 times, but that was my first time there in '88. And yeah, but it was crazy because he was like, this is what he said to me. Rhodes Bond. He was like, yo, I hope it ain't no beef. He said, we did what we had to do, and y'all did what y'all had to do. You know, I just want to hope we can just leave it right there. Like I said, I had Matt and Word is Bond right there on the side. My people was right there watching everything. You know, they was right there on standby. You know, cause I said, hold on, I got something to address right. Cause they said, what's up, beef people? I was like, nah, this motherfucker playboy. I said, I said some shit on the island. This motherfucker did some real snake shit and lied to these Spanish brothers and told them some bullshit. You know, motherfuckers moved on me. I said, but we retaliated. I said, I got my shit back and motherfuckers got it and all that. I said, but this motherfucker was the root to all this shit. So this is my first time seeing him since then. You know what I'm saying? So they was like, yo. And Natural was like, what? Big Natural from Southern was like, what? And I mean, this motherfucker be working out together, born. It's like, yo, so I drop a fucking dumbbell on his head. You know what I'm saying? I said, nah, you ain't got to do all that. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, he's a big dude, big, tall, big. This motherfucker blew up. He looked like a baseball player named Jose Canseco. This motherfucker looked like he was on steroids. This motherfucker got so big, you know? I don't care about that big shit, but you imagine, he already know who's who. Natural was there, Homo was there, D-Wiz was there. I gotta get some of them flicks too, man. We took flicks there at that time too, man. But Natural got deported to Trinidad. But he be in communication with me. Yeah, he got deported to Natural from Sumner. He got deported to Trinidad. Yeah, I gotta get his testimony on a few things with my brother too. You know, he got a few stories too. He already shared some of them with me, you know. But yeah, he doing his thing out there. He got some workout stuff going on out there.
So your brother was up top at the same time you was up top somewhere else?
Only in 1983 we both was in Elmira together, but he was in population and I was in reception. And they probably would have sent me to population, but my family came in to visit us and put both of us on a visit. So when they seen that I was in reception, as soon as I got a reception, they sent me straight to Kaxaki. And he stayed in Elmira.
And
yeah,
y'all came home at the same time around?
Nah, he came home in December of 84. My brother caught a bid in summer of 86. He had a 2-6. Not 86, summer of 82. Summer of 82. He had a 2-6. He didn't come home till December of 84. I caught a bid in April of 83. And I ain't come home till the end of 86 on work release. You know. And I stayed on work release for like 5 months. Then I caught another bid and went back up top. You know, I didn't finish that I caught that bid, but I was on work release. But I had been on work release for about 4.5, 5 months. And then when I came home, then during that time when I caught that bid, that's when my physical, you know, when that happened with him, when he returned to the essence. I was locked up when that shit happened.
Stay away, 'cause now you're mine. Trips to the Bahamas, smells.
Ayo, LAZ, make sure you check that full video on YouTube, Scar City, Soul Cypher Volume 1. Leave a comment, tell them Z-Man Suicide Polo with the Ski Man sent you.
Yeah. Still determined, man. Yeah. We Gucci, man. 2020. Still focused. What can I do?
Ayo, Z-Lord, man, check that new single from Aguilar and St. Laz. You heard? Google that. It's on some platforms. Ayo, if you need t-shirt designs and t-shirt pressing, go to the Family Tree 335 on Instagram. You heard? Send them a DM. Tell them LAZ sent you.
When I tell you, Attorney Mitchell and her team, they were with me every step of the way. I was stressed. It was very stressful. I contacted Attorney Mitchell and told her what was going on. He was stuck in a jail in West Virginia. They actually lost his paperwork, so he ended up being in there for over 2 weeks. Once I explained everything to her, we had to call to the courthouse. It was just a mess, and I don't know what I would have done without Attorney Mitchell.
Hey, yo, LAZ, if you in that penitentiary and you can't really get the YouTube and you want to hear these jail stories, make sure you type in Gen Pop Jail on all streaming platforms. You heard? I got 3 albums out with jail and hood stories. This one right here, all St. Laz jail stories, prison stories. You heard? Check it. Where's my money, bitch? Hey, yo, they calling this book The Hood Game of Thrones. Check it out on bloodsagas.com.